Game 2 of the FIBA Oceania Championship Best-of-3 Series. Australia drew first blood in Melbourne, winning Game 1, but the Tall Blacks from New Zealand always seem to surpass everyone's expectations at the international level. Hi everybody, I'm Steve Carfino. Thanks for joining us on 10's coverage of this international series between the Tall Blacks and the Boomers. And as usual, we have instant international credibility in Shane Heal, four-time Olympian. In this game, well, from Game 1, if it's any indication, should be physical.
Oh, it will be. There's always passion between Australia and New Zealand. Doesn't matter what sport we're playing. That'll happen again tonight. And it was great to see it in Game 1. I think it's a positive.
What about the adjustments New Zealand need to make if they have any shot at beating the Boomers? Because you know the Boomers are going to make some adjustments.
Well, the Boomers will. I didn't think the Boomers played that well. I think they can actually step it up a notch. I think the Boomers can win this game convincingly. They're going to rely New Zealand on Kirk Penny. He's the best player on the court by far, in my opinion. They've got a supporting cast around him, but they need to be able to step it up and put some points on the board as well.
All right, working the sidelines for us tonight is Rob Hazel. Early in the evening, he caught up with the head coach for the Australian Boomers, Brett Brown.
Well, Brett, New Zealand have their backs to the wall. It's must win for them. Game 1 was physical. Are you expecting more of the same?
I think even more so. You know, I think any time a good team that's well coached backs to the wall like they are tonight, you know, you're going to see a more physical game, and we just have to make sure that we're smart in how we play that type of style.
Well, Australia certainly lifted after those altercations in Game 1. You'd be happy to see your players kind of getting under the New Zealanders' skin?
I think, you know, you draw a line in the sand where you just don't want to cross it. You know, in the spirit of the game, you want to play the game the right way. I feel like we did that. I feel like we were physical and we did not cross the line, and that's just the way, you know, it's the nature of the culture of the players, it's their character, and I think it is also New Zealand's character. They are a good, tough team.
There's only 2 points at half-time. Did you get away from your game plan at the start of that game at all?
Not really. It's Penny. Penny had a heck of a game with 17 points, and Vacona, you know, he's such a competitor, had 12, and I credit them. You know, I think that we need to make some adjustments and tighten up, but by and large, you know, the game plan remains the same. We just want to get better at it.
Thanks, Brett. Best of luck tonight. Just one win away from London.
Thank you.
Well, the Australian Boomers try and seal this competition right now. Of course, is the prize, Shane, going to the Olympic Games. Let's have a look at their starting five.
Well, have a look at that. Patrick Mills. He didn't shoot the ball that well. He was very aggressive on offense. Expect a big one from him tonight. Joe Ingles, again, that international experience with Brad Newley on the other wing. That's athleticism. Matt Nielsen, he's the stability for the Boomers. He's the captain. He's the heart and soul of this team. And big Alex Marriage. He's just big.
Yeah, and this is a team that has showed a lot of depth, especially in Game 1. You're familiar with all of these guys. Who do you think needs to step it up? I mean, we've got some guys that are coming back to the Australian team, of course, and you got to wonder who are going to be the guys that need to step it up, maybe a couple of extra notches to make this team?
Well, I think that man, Dellavedova, he's going to make the team. He's going to be in the rotation, in my opinion. He's somebody that we haven't seen the best of yet in Game 1. And I think he's somebody that tonight, not only defensively of what he can bring to the table, but also offensively. His shot's not pretty, but it's very, very effective, and he's got a role to play.
All right, Rob Hazel caught up with Nenad Vucinic, the head coach for the Tall Blacks, a little bit earlier.
Well, Nenad, what's the key to turning around the result in Game 1?
Defense, number one, especially transition defense, and probably I would say rebounding.
Well, Mark Worthington seemed to get under Casey Frank's skin in Game 1. Have you instructed your players to just leave all of that alone, not get involved?
I think, you know, they certainly got the better of that scuffle, and they continued to play, and we were rattled, and it shouldn't happen to us. You know, we're not really a young team. We have got some experience, and we should know better.
Well, given it's a must-win game for you, do you take a different mental approach into tonight?
I don't think so. I mean, we had a approach that we have to win that first game, and now we really have to win this game too. And we didn't play with the intensity that was required, and we're hoping that this will happen tonight.
Well, good luck tonight, Nenad. Looking to send the series into a series decider.
Thank you very much.
Well, they got their work cut out for them. Let's have a look at the starting five. Lindsay Tate will line up at the point guard position. Mark Dickel will come in behind him as a backup point guard, Kirk Penny is the man everybody needs to watch because he put on a shooting clinic the other night in Melbourne at the cage. Thomas Abercrombie needs to step it up and give him that third scoring option. Mika Vukona was outstanding at the 4, and Alex Pledger is their big force in the middle. But Shane, this is a team that has a very solid starting 5, and guys coming off the bench need to make their contributions as well.
Yeah, they certainly don't have the same depth as Australia does, and their starting 5 as well. Not at the same talent levels, but they play their role well. They've played together a long time, they play hard, they're well coached, as Brett Brown said earlier. But that man on screen, he is a sensation. He's just a scoring machine and probably the best scorer in our league since Andrew Gaze. Just a pleasure to watch.
And you mentioned that this is a 40-minute game, and with this on the line, we should see a lot more Kirk Penny.
Oh yeah, he shouldn't come off the court unless he's in foul trouble or he's hurting that much. Otherwise, he has to play 40 minutes. His teammates have to rally around, get him the ball, but they also have to be ready to take the pressure off and step up and make baskets themselves.
How about Thomas Abercrombie? Had a little trouble getting it going in game 1, and they really need his contribution on the scoring.
Well, he's proven that he can do it at an NBL level. Now the next challenge for him is, can he do it against international players like Joe Ingles and Brad Newley and guys like Dellavedova that are coming off the bench? Because that's a good physical, defensive, athletic team that can sort of match his length and athleticism.
We spoke a lot about the physical play of game 1, and like Nenad said, the coach for the Tall Blacks, he said Australia got the better of them in the scuffle as well as played better afterwards.
They did. New Zealand came second on the scoreboard and the scuffle. They won't like that at all. And as an Aussie, I like it. I think it was good for the sport. I don't think it went over the line. There's been a lot of headlines during the week, but that's what, this battle is all about between New Zealand and Australia. Both teams won't back down, and there's a lot of pride and passion on the line here tonight.
And how about the shooting from the perimeter? It just seemed as if there's any criticism of Australia in game 1, they got a little lost, shot the basketball from the perimeter when they were really dominating inside.
It's been a weakness of the Australian team at last year's World Championships. We didn't have players that shot the ball from the perimeter. We do have guys that can shoot it, but we haven't been a consistent team from the perimeter. And when Andrew Bogut comes back for the London Olympics next year, we are going to need to be able to step it up, because he will have all of the defensive pressure inside, and that's an easy way to penalise him from the 3.
And for Australia, Andrew Bogut coming back, of course, and there's some big names. David Anderson as well is a great player. Matty Nielsen's a captain. They're just loaded in the big man department. Probably very rarely will we see a guard, especially the point guard, Patty Mills, taking 21 shots from the field.
Well, I was licking my lips. 21 shots for a point guard on the national team in international basketball is unheard of. So he certainly sprayed them up. He was only 6 for 21. He has to pick and choose when he shoots the ball. 13 threes is a lot of threes as well. He has to find a way to mix it up between shooting the trifecta and also getting it inside and out, penetrating and opening it up for his teammates.
Well, the last thing we'll probably point out before we get to the national anthems is how tough of a road is it once you do lose this series and you have to qualify?
Oh my, it is a tough qualification for the loser next year, going through the European whole system. It is very, very tough, and they have to stay ready, because if they get that, then they're going on to the Olympics straight afterwards.
And how about some of the teams that have missed out? At the last World Championships and the last Olympic Games. What are some of the great countries, the great powerhouses around the world that missed out?
Well, there are teams like Italy that in 2000 were a top 6 team. They didn't make the last Olympics and World Championships. You have to get through those sort of countries, and depth in European basketball is so big. The money that's paid and the money that's put into their program is exceptional, and it's a very, very tough ask.
And how about for Australia? It's getting to a bit like the Socceroos, where the Australian talent is world class going all around the world. It's a great opportunity for Australians to identify with not only how great the talent is for basketball here in Australia, but to welcome these guys back to the country, because we sure would like to have them back.
No doubt. And, these guys, Joe Ingles and Matty Nielsen and Brad Newley, these guys that have been out of the country for a long time, they are passionate Australians. They love coming back here and playing in front of full houses, but they are really going to the next level in Europe. They make a lot of money, and you don't blame them for getting over there and getting that experience and a little bit of coin along the way.
Yeah, no kidding, because they've got some great teams that they're playing for. Matty Nielsen going to Russia, and I've got guys like that. We've got David Barlow, we've got Brad Newley, who's playing in Lithuania. The list goes on and on. These are some great clubs not just, you know, to be admired from over here, but if you're playing for a club like that in Europe, you're doing well.
I mean, two of the biggest. Alex Maric is playing for Panathinaikos in Greece, which is massive, and Joe Ingles playing for Barcelona. They are two of the powerhouse countries. They are two of the teams that are always in the top four, and when you go to a game over there and you see that, it's an exceptional experience.
All right. Well, one of the things that you can expect from these guys, we got NBA players as well, Patrick Mills, as well as the New Zealand guys that'll be looking to contain these players. But we will be hearing both national anthems. First, the New Zealand national anthem from Danny Pfeiffer.
New Zealand and Australia.
E hoa tua o na iwi matura hata whakarongo me aroha noa kia ua ko te pai kia tātou atawhai mana ki tia mai a te aroa God of nations at thy feet in the bonds of love we meet. Hear our voices, we entreat. God defend our free land. Guide Pacific's triple star from the source of strife and war. Make her praises heard afar. God defend New Zealand.
Beautifully done. And the Australian national anthem by Beck Whitehead.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are young and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is cut by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts. Our beauty rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains and let us sing. Advance Australia fair.
Very well done, Danny Pfeiffer and Beck Whitehead singing the national anthems, New Zealand and the Australian one. We'll be back for the first quarter action. Australia versus New Zealand.
That's well coached, back.
The same talent levels.
It's about damn time to live it up. I'm so sick of being so serious. It's making my brain delirious. I'm just talking true. I'm telling you about this shit we do. We're selling our clothes, sleeping in cars, dressing it down, hitting on.
Welcome!
pretty intimidating. One of the great signs at a sporting event. Shane, you know, does it have any effect on you? I mean, the New Zealand rugby team, when they do it, and they get those tongues wagging and those tattoos flaring, whoo, looks intimidating.
Well, it certainly adds to the atmosphere, and as Australians, we respect the culture and mindset for the New Zealanders to be able to do it. I like the fact that they're not up in the Australians' face anymore. I thought that used to go a little bit too far when they were right up over the line, and it created more of a confrontation, but good for the sport.
Yeah, you wouldn't mind a little confrontation.
Come on,
yeah,
Steve.
some players like that, though. Some players like to get themselves motivated with something like that.
And I didn't mind a little bit of that either. And I liked being able to see the passion that everyone played with on Wednesday night as well. And I'm sure the Kiwis sitting over there watching it would have absolutely loved the feel from both teams, because it means a great deal. I have so many great memories when you see the national anthem being played and you see those Aussies standing out there with their arms around each other. It sends tingles down your spine because of the passion we have to represent our country.
And maybe that's why you can explain how players like Paul Hanari, playing for New Zealand, he used to just seem to grow an extra leg when it came to representing his country. You know, for Australia, it's like guys like Damien Keogh, good player in the National Basketball League, but seemed to play with even more intensity and more efficiency when he played for Australia.
And I can't talk for New Zealand, but for Australia, I felt like we always had a 10-point advantage over every other country we played, because what it meant for us to be able to slip on that jersey, and the respect we had for each other and people playing for a role and all the rest of it. And it's great to see some big crowds coming out to support our guys here as well.
And we are just about underway. As the guys, Joe Ingles and Kirk Penny, were locking feet. And Thomas Abercrombie reels it in. Referees for tonight, Jose Martin from Spain, Scott Butler from here in Australia, and Tim Brown from New Zealand. Kirk Penny gets a lot of attention from Australia here early. Kicks it to Alex Pledger. He's short off the iron, and Patrick Mills reels it in. He's got numbers. Gets it to Brad Newley with space and time, and he drills the three.
That is a bigger play than you really understand, because Brad Newley is such a confidence player. He's the sort of guy that if he misses his first couple, he could be cold for the rest of the night. But when he makes that, he is devastating when he plays with confidence.
Well, he played quite well, even though he didn't shoot well in game one. Only 3 for 11 in game one in Melbourne. Wayward pass. Kirk Penny. Shot clock down to 5. Lindsay Tate gets it to Penny. Offensive foul on the screen by Nika Vakona.
Back to that score by the Boomers. Great pass by Paddy Mills as well. He didn't stop and prop and throw that up. Marriage ran the lane, took all the defensive pressure, and Paddy had the poise to be able to find the open man and get somebody like Brad Newley an open look to start the game.
And also hit him in rhythm.
He did.
Marriage, tough jump hook, was pulled in by Mika Vakona, an undersized 4-man, but he can play about 4 positions out on the floor. I know he can guard just about any of them.
Certainly can.
Penny got 2 guys in close proximity. Bit of standing around here by New Zealand. Tate to Vakona. That's the option Australia wants them to have. 2 very good athletes going at it on that rebound. Brad Newley comes up with it.
See, that's the difference. Abercrombie would have got that rebound in Australia. Now he's playing against Brad Newley, who's also 6'8" and is also an athlete and will block out each time and get after it.
Patrick Mills brings it up for Australia. Nika Vakona hands in, picks up number 2.
That's a veteran play by Matty Nilsson. Vakona's up and in too much, so Nilsson really just fakes the foul, pulls his arm straight through, and Vakona is a crucial element to this New Zealand team. He needs to be out there.
Rob Hazel on the sidelines. What's the atmosphere like here tonight?
Well, it's a little bit tense. The crowd certainly got into the haka, Steve, just before the game. But we're talking about a Brisbane crowd. They've been without top-flight basketball for some time since the now-defunct Brisbane Bullets won the championship way back in 2007. So they're loving having big basketball here again.
Thanks, Rob. Lindsay Tate for 3, and that goes.
And you live with that. That's exactly the shot Australia needs him to be able to take. As long as Kirk Penny he hasn't got his feet set, he's not shooting it, you're going to live with that because it's not a consistent shot over a whole game.
Patrick Mills with some contact. Gets it to Newley. He puts it on the floor, spins, tries to get to the rim, but he travels first.
See, I didn't see that travel.
Get another look. I didn't see it either.
I'm still not seeing it.
Well, you don't have to watch it too many times in slow motion on a travel call, whether you see it or not. That one's on Joe Ingles. A lot of fouls called early in the game. Maybe those two scuffles had something to do with how closely this game's being called here in Brisbane.
This is the advantage Australia has. You look, Newley playing on, and we see an offensive foul. But you see Newley playing on Kirk Penny. You see Joe Ingles will have a crack at him. Dellavedova will come off the bench and have a crack at him. The depth for Australian basketball defensively there is very good.
Looked like that last little shove got Abercrombie the foul. Looked like he was frustrated a little bit too. It's a bit early in the game to be frustrated.
And Joe's good at that. He accentuated the contact. He's up and into Abercrombie. And again, a younger Abercrombie as far as compared to some of the veterans on the Australian team. Australia need to play like that.
Joe Ingles taking his trade to Barcelona.
Oh, yeah.
In the Spanish league. And Joe, born in '87, he's kind of a veteran, but he's still young.
He is a veteran, and he is young.
Mills, his little floater goes up there nice and soft. And Patrick seemed to have a lot more time.
He just uses his hesitation so well. He kept the defense not knowing really what he was going to do.
Kirk Penny's fouled from behind by Brad Newley. He'll go to the line for 3.
And we commented a lot of times last year, Steve, for such an unbelievable three-point shooter, Kirk Penny isn't a very good free throw shooter.
No,
it blows me away.
He missed a couple, and a couple of his makes just kind of bounced around and slid in, and his misses were left and long. And you know when a good shooter misses, they don't miss by much, and they're always straight.
Well, every time he takes a three and his feet are set, I expect it to go in. I mean, he's automatic. But it's amazing to me that he doesn't feel the same way necessarily. And obviously, it's a mental thing, and you know he looks like he's going to make these 3 here. But it's been proven over a period of time that he's not a CJ Bruton when it comes to making your free throws.
Well, he gets all 3 of those to go with a nice rhythm and confidence, like a great shooter would. But throughout the night, it won't look that consistent. Brad Newley again gets a good look. That time he shoots an air ball. Leon Henry isn't able to reel it in, probably expecting the ball to hit the rim.
Well, that's one way that you're going to break a press. Bang, open three-point shot. You just need to be able to knock it down.
Had a good look at it. Brad Newley has hit one and shoots the air ball in the second. Matt Nielsen's long on a shot that was about from the same shot, same space that the make was. Kirk Penny utilizing that Pledger's screen about 4 times. Tate puts it on the floor.
Great D by Nielsen.
Tough shot. Joe Ingles got those long arms on it. Here come Australia. Newley will slow it down. They didn't have numbers. Kind of an awkward looking break. Mills. Wasn't sure if he was lobbing that or to Marich or shot it himself.
Whatever it was nice. He's scored 2 times now on penetration, and that was the point we made at the start of the game. Don't settle for 13 threes, Paddy. Get yourself to the basket for the nice long layup or open up for your teammates.
Joe Ingles trying to get over the top of that screen. We'll get another look at Patrick Mills' floater. There's that hesitation again. I still don't know who scored that one.
I don't either. It looked like Marriage gave a little bit of a tip, put his finger up to say, hey, that's mine.
Henry. Lindsay Tate doesn't command the same attention that this man does when he comes over the top of the screen. Pledger. That's one Australia wants New Zealand to shoot. The officials will have a look at one another. That one's on Alex Marriage, as Leon Henry should go to the line, I believe.
And that's where Australia need to get 5 guys on the boards. You're going to make New Zealand take tough shots. Pledger took a long 2. Well, then you've got to get people in there to get up with the board, and then you can run it back down their throat if you're going to get easy baskets.
Henry can't get the first one to go. Or the second. Marriage does a good job of keeping Mika Vakona off the glass, which is not an easy task. Nielsen made that look easy. Nice rhythm on that jump hook from the baseline. Nielsen looks like he's in the flow.
Well, they're going one out now on Matty Nielsen in the post. They started game 1 by doubling him, and Matty's a great passer out of that post. I was surprised that they went to that extent to send a double team.
And then Matty backs it up with a smart defensive play as he shows on the drive by Leon Henry, a little out of control travel.
And that's what Matty Nielsen brings to the table. He's so active defensively. He's such a good big guy to play with when you're a guard because he's everywhere. He's talking. He's a good leader. Does all the little things that not everybody sees.
Another foul called.
Obviously, a few people see it though, Steve, because he just signed a big contract in Russia after signing a big contract for Olympiacos and Valencia before that. So good to see him being rewarded for his hard work.
And he shows no signs of slowing down, really. He not only looks crafty and experienced, but he looks fresh.
A little hairy, but fresh. Physically, he's in good nick. There's no doubt about that. But he's just so much more poised. The experience that you gain by playing in Europe and playing with such good players in big-time leagues and playing so many games has to make you better.
And the skill level and the good basketball that's played. Teams execute so well. Vakona, Kirk Penny should make that one. He had a good look at it, gave it a bit too much.
Brett Brown will be disappointed in that. Kirk Penny should never, ever shoot an open shot.
Vakona against Nielsen. Nielsen couldn't help himself, reached.
And you have a look at Dellavedova coming in with one thing in mind. All he's doing is looking at Kirk Penny. He's got his back to the ball. His whole job is just deny, get around screens, and just chase him.
He looks happy to do it.
Oh, he does. He certainly does. He is a great player. There's only one thing wrong with him. He barracks for Collingwood.
Well, other than extremely long guys, I didn't like long guys guarding me that were wiry and like a Darnell Mee type of guy. But more than that, I was always bothered by guys that had no offensive responsibility. They just were out there just to shut you down, and were good at it.
And were passionate about doing it, hungry.
Dellavedova looking for A.J. Ogilvy. Barlow's in the game as well. Ogilvy having trouble handling that pass. Shot clock down to 4. Dellavedova has the ball stripped by Lindsay Tate. Gets it to Penny, and he gets an easy 2 to get him going. I forgot to change the shot clock on possession, but you play to the whistle. Nielsen finds Ogilvy. Nice block by Casey Frank.
Great pass by Nielsen, but a good spot for Ogilvy to get to it. Didn't execute it. And you see a bit of a flop there. Patty Mills getting right under Casey Frank's skin, and Casey reacting.
get another look. Sets the screen. That was a very big flop.
Very big flop. And flops now in Europe equal a tech foul. And I think it's a great rule.
I think it's a great rule.
We definitely don't want people flopping all of the time in our league. Now, that was a borderline one. I'm not necessarily just talking about that, but when somebody's got the ball and they jump in front and then flop all of the time is certainly something we don't want to see in our game. It's not an Australian way to play basketball anyway.
Well, Australians don't like soccer being played that way.
Exactly.
Dellavedova.
Little zone now.
Deflection is knocked out of bounds by Mark Dickel. How's Mark Dickel on that loose ball? He got his money's worth, didn't he?
He did. And then he got a headlock for it.
Nielsen, soft off the glass, but not soft enough. A.J. Ogilvy can't get it to go. Newley with the floater. That's no good, but Newley tips it in himself.
And that basket goes to Matty Nielsen. Offensive board. He flipped it straight back out. Newley got to the free throw line. Good finish. Ogilvy looks nervous. He's a very good player, but he looks nervous to me at the moment. He hasn't settled into to playing for Australia.
Newley comes down with the rebound. Ogilvy to Barlow. Tipped away by good help defense by New Zealand. Frank, he's bumped, that'll count. Off the glass, and then it was interfered with. I think Abercrombie looks nervous out there too when he's playing. You talk about him getting to the next level, just looks a little unsure of himself, his role, whatever it may be. Doesn't look like his confident self that he played with when he was playing for the Breakers.
It's true, and it's always a big test. I tell you what will be a big test is this five that Australia's got out there now. Worthington, Dellavedova, Brad Newley, A.J. Ogilvy, and Dave Barlow. I'm not sure the balance is right there, and against the zone, really need to be able to knock down shots.
Newley turns the corner and gives a nice pass to A.J. Ogilvy, puts the lid on it. That'll take the nerves away.
I love Brad Newley when he's aggressive coming off on-ball screens. He's just such an athlete.
Good defensive pressure and double team getting Mark Dickel to burp it up. He turns it over. Boomers try to expand on this 6-point lead. Well, other than A.J. Ogilvy, those other four look like they could switch every screen. They're about the same size. Dellavedova can't get it to go. Loose ball goes out of bounds. Scotty Butler needs a little help. And it goes back to Australia. Newley to inbound. Dellavedova up top. Newley again on the curl cut. Dellavedova finds A.J. Ogilvy. He's fouled heavily by B.J. Anthony. Good find.
Great pass by Dellavedova. Picked up his dribble in the wrong spot, but was able to throw a long pass to Ogilvy. That'll get his confidence up as well. They got out of jail because they really hadn't executed a play, but good find.
Yeah, he looked like he got bumped out of position and still delivered the dart to A.J. Ogilvy. Boy, they must have been able to sense you saying that A.J. Ogilvy looked nervous because they've given him point-blank dunk and layup.
And that'll be great for his confidence because he's a very talented player. And again, another international that's gaining a lot of experience overseas.
Dickel gets it to Casey Frank for three. And again, Casey Frank does not hesitate outside the three-point line. But Shane, to Australia, will they live with that?
Well, that would be the game plan. They want to give Casey Frank that. Good high-low. Great flash by Worthington. Looked like Ogilvy got fouled.
Well, he wasn't able to handle it. This should be interesting. Yes. Casey Frank gets it. Worthington got it to go off of Casey Frank. Get another look. Goes right off of the arm of Casey Frank. Does he need to have possession of that, though?
I thought you had to have control.
That's what I thought. The ball bounced off of the defender, off of his arm, and then into the back court.
I'm the wrong person.
Barlow, extra pass goes to Dellavedova for 3. Good extra movement by the Boomers.
I said it's not pretty, Dellavedova's shot, but I think he's one of the better shooters on this Australian team. He will become crucial next year in London.
Penny. Nice pass to B.J. Anthony. Just undersized. Got an email from one of my friends who always gives me the coaching advice whenever we're calling a game, and he said that Australia New Zealand should not be able to compete with Australia with the size and the athleticism that they have, but New Zealand just keep on coming.
They do, particularly when they're playing against Australia. And when you surround a team with somebody as good as Kirk Penny, then you give yourself a chance to win, particularly when people are able to accept a role and play as hard as they do. And that's always going to be the challenge for Australia, is that you never, ever disrespect New Zealand going into a game, because they can beat anybody on their night.
As they showed at the World Championships when they went to Indianapolis.
But in the next breath, your friend is right. Australia should win this game convincingly, and Brett Brown would be disappointed if they didn't.
Worthington. Back to Dellavedova. Steps in, gets the floater up. Doesn't go, but he goes to the line.
That's the advantage of Dellavedova as well. He's really a two-man that can really play good minutes, backing up Paddy Mills as a one-man as well. And because he's got that defensive aspect and the bigger size that he can defend a two or a three-man as well, it gives Brett Brown variety.
And that really must help when you're putting a team together, a guy that can give you solid minutes at a couple of positions.
Very much so. And that's why I think he is a key component. And a lot of people don't know a lot about Dellavedova, and second guess that. I wrote that on Twitter, you know, a couple of months ago, and people were like, "You're kidding, aren't you? Are you serious?" Like, he will play a role, and a valuable one.
And he doesn't look nervous at all.
No.
He just embraces his role and plays with a lot of confidence in it. He's taking a seat for his hard work. 15 seconds left here in the first quarter. Dickel turns the corner, gets it to B.J. Anthony, has it thrown out. Newley trying to kick it ahead to Barlow. 2.5 seconds to go. Plenty of time for the Boomers to get a good shot.
And there is a set play here that Brett Brown will be calling. He's the master of setting this stuff up from the NBA to be able to get a good shot.
Newley gets a good look at it, but doesn't get it close. And after 1 quarter of play, and the Olympics in London on the line, 24-15 Australia's way.
Ward Appliances.
Welcome back. You're watching the FIBA Oceania Championship Best-of-3 Series. The second leg here in Brisbane. Of course, Australia won Game 1 in Melbourne on Wednesday. And there is a third game that will be played in Sydney. And the Australian Boomers hope that that one will not be required for them to get the win and their place in the Olympic Games, at the Olympic Games in London in 2012. Aaron Baines gets that one to go. And he's been kind of a surprise packet as well, as according to the general public of Australia, because, well, Australians don't see these guys. He came from Washington State University and has gone straight to Europe.
He certainly has, and again, another guy that's banging against big guys in Europe and getting a whole lot of experience. Brett Brown will be happiest to be at the first quarter with two things. One, New Zealand have got 7 turnovers, as we see Dickel nail a 3. He won't be happy with that, but they'll give that up. And the second thing is they've held him to 36% from the field goal.
And you look at the field goal percentage a lot more than you do the points, don't you?
Definitely. You're trying to make it difficult. The other thing is they held Kirk Penny to only 2 field goal attempts in the first quarter. Great effort defensively.
Brad Newley turning the corner, wasn't able to get it to go, but as you mentioned, very aggressive. Penny turning the corner, he's hand checked by Adam Gibson.
Was soft, very soft. Oh my. I mean, we'll call 100 fouls if you're going to call that.
Dickel will run Kirk Penny off of a couple of screens. He goes off the glass again. That's another shot Australia would like New Zealand to take. Well, like we said before, we thought they had to have possession for it to be over and back, and
So
I guess
one of them's wrong.
Exactly. They must have talked about the rule when they got together after the first quarter.
Again, Wertho did a good job on that play of being able to block out, but at the same time, you got to block out and then go and get the board as well.
Not sure what Mika Vukona wasn't real happy about. The ball clearly went off of him. Patty did a good job when he saw he wasn't able to reel it in to bounce it off of his leg. Mills in rhythm. He's not going to miss that. Mark Dickel falls down.
Great screen from Baines, and that's exactly what you want Patty to do. Come off, be aggressive in that mid-range jumper.
Adam Gibson gets the assignment on Penny. Casey Frank is instructed to shoot that. He has not hesitated outside the three-point line.
Oh my, Merry Christmas.
Mills, identical play on the opposite side of the floor.
And that's a good play by Australia, actually going back to Mills, setting another good pick, getting him another open look. Paddy's played with a whole lot more poise tonight than he did in game one. Now he's got 7 points. He's 3 from 4 from the field. He's got a couple of assists, no turnovers. And I felt like he's let the game come to him a little bit more after other people have got involved.
Exactly, that one's on Mark Worthington. You know he always gets his money's worth.
That's his job. I mean, he's got to come in here, he's got to ruffle some feathers, he plays hard, and then he'll be back out again.
Aaron Baines sits down.
Sorry, at the same time, Wertho can still, you know, add some class to the team as well, but he just plays hard the whole time.
Look at that matchup between him and Mika Vukona. Frank puts it on the floor, extra pass to Penny. He had to shoot that one a little quick because bearing down on him was Gibson. Abercrombie trying to get it going. Mika Vukona off balance. The sheer size of Alec Marich.
Again, Abercrombie was lucky they called the foul. I thought that was a good foul to make because Paddy Mills had it kicked up the sideline to Brad Newley. It's the referee saying that the next person that talks is going to get a text. Oh, I think that's what he's saying.
All right. He had a word with Mark Worthington, and Mark acknowledged it right away, and Mark is the master of going all the way to the line and then pulling himself back at the right time. Doesn't get many technical fouls. Newley. Gibson, nice pass to Marich. He's got to finish that. He does.
Good touch from the big fella. Good ball movement too. Nice play to set Newley up with a middle pick and roll.
Fitch it into the game for New Zealand. Frank. Kirk Penny, Adam Gibson all over him. Dickel is fouled.
See, this fella just seems very inconsistent with his calls. At one stage, it's really physical and people are getting bumped and bashed. And then at other times, there's a little soft one that's been called.
Timeout on the floor. Australia have a 10-point lead, 31-21 here at game 2.
with all the current players watching tonight. The draw will be made in the third quarter of tonight's matchup. So go down and register, get down and get the registration in the draw.
Welcome back to Brisbane, Game 2 of our series in this Trans-Tasman great rivalry between New Zealand and Australia. And the winner, if it's Australia tonight, will qualify for the Olympics in London. And New Zealand have to take the hard road.
And what a hard road it is.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Shane, they've got to qualify where there are only 3 spots available.
And they play against a whole lot of European talent that is used to being able to play a whole lot of friendly games, because geographically there's a big advantage for those sort of teams. It'll be tough.
Penny trying to turn the corner. Tough shot, rolls out. Mika Vukona has it go off him. That'll go to Australia. Yeah, Shane, there are 213 nations fighting out for those 3 spots.
And we want to see them make it. It's great when we've got Australia and New Zealand representing Oceania at any World Championships or Olympic Games.
Mills takes one. That's probably the only shot that hasn't been wide open for him. Vukona on the rip through. Worthington does a good job of covering the baseline. Frank pulls up for that jump shot, no good.
And that was a good closeout by Marriage. Frank's made a couple of threes in game 1, made a couple here tonight, so he had to close out harder, and Casey's not as fluent after he comes off a dribble.
Make him put it on the floor. I don't know how many times good coaches have said that over the years. Because you can practice that standstill shot forever, but it's different when you got to put it on the floor once or twice.
Much different. And you have a look at the way Australia are playing on the on-ball screens against someone like Mark Dickel, because they don't respect his outside shot. They just go under every single on-ball screen and challenge him to be able to shoot it. He's a smart player. He knows that's not his strength, so he's not going to blaze away. When you're playing against someone like Kirk Penny, they are riding him over and trying to double every time they possibly can.
And they are doing a great job at it. He has not even been able to get shots off, much less make them. Pledger, that's the shot Australia want him to take, and he knocks it down.
And he's good at it, but again, Penny's standing in the corner, and that's where you want him to stay.
Marriage, good footwork. He hooks illegally on Alex Pledger. Will be going the other way.
Alex Marriage does that a lot. At the World Championships last year, he got a lot of offensive fouls from hooking. You see his elbow there, straight on Pledger's hip. Just use that to get advantage and get himself around. That's a good call by Scott Butler.
A lot of refs don't see that. You know, they'll call the blatant one when you wrap your arm around him with your hand, but not when you just hook him with your elbow. Not much of an argument from Alex Marriage either, just went the other way.
Well, he's used to it by now, I reckon. He needs to make an adjustment.
Dickel lets a long one fly outside the three-point line, and New Zealand, after a couple of shots made by uncharacteristic shooters,
was he looking up here? Was he looking up here saying, hey, you said I can't shoot a 3?
I'm pretty sure he's looking at you.
I want to see him do it again then.
Marriage, shot clock down to 5. Mills in rhythm, tries to get the answering 3, can't get it. Kirk Penny comes up with it. I guess Australia will allow him to catch it 70 feet away from the hoop. No one's on Barlow because he's got the assignment on Kirk Penny. And Australia can run a wealth of guys on Kirk Penny. Not any one of them can stop him, but collectively, with a lot of help and a lot of positioning, is how Australia have been doing it. With that in mind, Australia still hold the lead. New Zealand have come back. It's 31-26. Brett Brown talking to his Australian Boomers. The lead has been trimmed to 5. But Australia, the way they have played the D, have done a great job on Kirk Penny, but New Zealand continues to compete.
They do, and it looks like Brett Brown's going for a smaller lineup. And I don't mind this. I like when Dellavedova gets to play the 2 spot every now and again. I like it when he's in there with Paddy Mills. This time they're going with Gibson and Dellavedova. A little bit more mobility in the backcourt.
Gibson getting more minutes here in game 2 than he did in game 1. Brett Brown has that luxury. He's got plenty of experience at the international level, and he's one of those guys who's paid his dues, come up with the AIS, played in the ABA, did his apprenticeship with the Brisbane Bullets, and then played with a super talented team for the South Dragons under Brian Gorgon. So he has played a lot of basketball.
Well, he's played some with Australia as well. And a couple of the tours we did to Argentina and Brazil, he was first class. He really impressed me. He's a good player and represents the culture of what Australia's tried to breed as far as how hard he plays and fitting in.
Baines hands it off to Barlow. He tries to turn the corner, has it blocked by Alex Pledger. Australia to inbound the basketball on the baseline. Barlow, his little medium range pull-up is good. And on a couple of possessions, I thought the last one that Barlow took, he had that little mid-range shot that he is quite capable of hitting, but tried to go all the way to the basket. I would imagine with the size of the international players, that's an option you got to take.
Well, sometimes you've got to be able to pull up and shoot that little one, or you've got to create a runner as that big comes to you to be able to get that off as well. And that was a nice take, that last one.
Kirk Penny tries to find Alex Pledger. Penny looks frustrated. Australia have done a fantastic job on him.
And as we've said, so many different ways to be able to defend him. And then with a big weighting that's going to double team him each time, you're going to create frustration, even for the best player in this region.
Nielsen with a tough fall away. Mika Bacona picks up number 3.
Good call going into Matt Nielsen, knowing Bacona's got 2 already. Bacona has to come out, and it's a big decision as well of what minutes he plays in the 4th quarter. If it's going to go down to the line, they need Bacona. That's a good call by Scott Butler on the baseline, because that was clearly a slap on Matt Nielsen's elbow that severely affects your shot.
Severely affects your shot, but hard to see.
Very hard to see. That's why it's a good call that he was on top of it.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't see that until you slow-moed it.
Yeah. And I think it's also what you're looking for too. Like if, you know, Scott Butler is experienced enough, and that's why he gets all these gigs internationally, to know what your shot looks like when it's affected by, you know, an elbow flick, or, you know, a touch, a light touch, or one that's deceptive. He knows what it looks like.
Yep.
I always just say to officials, watch the rotation of the ball. You know, if he flicks your elbow, it's going to look different.
Yep, and that's part of it. I mean, a referee without that same experience as Scott Butler, they're waiting for a slap. It doesn't take a slap to affect a shooter's shot. And the good defenders know how to do that to get away with it.
Especially if you have the tough covers like a Kirk Penny, like an Andrew Gaze. At the international level, there are guys that can just flat out score. And if you have those assignments, then you know those tricks. You have to.
And this is a let-off for New Zealand. Australia can't foul full court against Penny when you're in the bonus and give him a chance to get a couple of freebies. He's up to 9 points. 5 of those have come from the line.
New Zealand just hanging tough in this game. Backs to the wall in this series, dropping game 1. They're giving Australia all they can handle here in game 2. Matty Nielsen, that's a good possession for Australia. Get a good shot. Baines has the ball knocked away on some good hands by Pledger. Penny looking rejuvenated. Casey Frank wide open from the 3-point line. Can't get that one to go. That was a huge one. Would have made it a 1-point game. Australia stick with their game plan, and that's the one they're giving up. Nielsen wants the ball. Single coverage still with Nielsen. He backs him all the way down. Can't get it to go. Gets his own rebound. Nielsen. Ball reversal to Barlow. Shot clock in single figures. Throws it up in the air to Baines. It's turned over. Fitchett brings it up, gives it to Lindsay Tate. New Zealand again have a chance to make it a 2-point lead. Penny. Good job by Kurt Penny to look off the defense and then pull up. That's the first decent look he's had all night.
And he created that look for himself. There was no space. The defense was pretty good overall. And that's what Kirk Penny's added to his game over the last few years. He's got fitter. He's more mobile. He doesn't just settle for the three. He can go to the basket. He can step back. He's class.
And I can't help but think he got a little confidence from going to the line. As Adam Gibson shoots an air ball, Pledger pulls it in. Tate. Pledger. Another foul, and then Fitchett will go to the line.
And see, that's not a foul that Adam Gibson needs to make. He's not defending Kirk Penny there. He doesn't need to be able to create a foul and get around against Fitchett.
Yeah, he needs to just go behind that screen.
He needs to challenge him to do something he doesn't want to do. Now, New Zealand go to the line with an opportunity to be able to equal it.
Mike Fitchett goes to the line. Plays in the New Zealand NBL. With Waikato. It's a league-leading free throw shooter, too, at 96%. That's a great number, 96%.
In any league. Doesn't matter where you are. You shoot 96%, that makes it a worse foul.
Worthington from the baseline. He continues his good form. Gave Australia a great spark in game one.
Good pick and pop too. Good find from Patty Mills.
Less than a minute to go till halftime. Offensive foul. Fouls on Kirk Penny.
Is Joe Ingles injured? He's played 3 minutes 53.
I think maybe he gets them mixed up. He looks down there, and Newley kind of looks the same with the same length.
It's hard too.
Mills pulls up. Casey Frank, kind of a soft closeout. I dared him to shoot that one. And Mills did not turn it down. And a quick shot by Patty Mills. Maybe a 2-for-1.
It's a good decision.
There he goes. It's a good look by Brad Newley. Baines with the left-handed hook. No good. Shot it a bit early. Tate's got plenty of time to get it. He did not see Kirk Penny wide open, and his runner is no good after one half of play. It's Australia with a narrow 2-point lead, 36-34. New Zealand, we mentioned before the coverage, before the game started in our opener, that New Zealand is going to hang in there. Rob Hazel has Luke Longley.
Yeah, Manu casts an enormous shadow on Australian basketball. Luke, it took a while for the game to get into a rhythm. Are you guys able to stick with your game plan?
Game's gone differently than we anticipated, but we will stick with that game plan. Yeah, we'll keep going inside of the big guys.
You were out by 10 early in that quarter. They were able to peg it back. They're not going away, are they?
No, they're a resilient team. We've always known that. They've got great shooters, and they're shooting the ball great.
What's Brett Brown going to be saying to the team at halftime?
We'll be telling them to pick those guys up full court, disrupt their momentum a little bit. We're letting them walk into the offense and get Penny set up. I think we'll be putting a little bit more pressure on them all over the court.
All right, mate, best of luck for the second half. Cheers. Australia up by 2. And we'll have more from the Oceania series here from Brisbane coming up after the break.
Welcome back. We're about to embark on the third quarter here of game 2 of this 3-game series between Australia and New Zealand. A little surprise packet here in game 2. Maybe the experts aren't as surprised, but Australia, who looked like they were going to dominate here in game 2 early, have been pegged back by the Tall Blacks and made it a 2-point game. And Shane, a couple of guys sitting on the bench for Australia, you know, maybe a little surprising. Joe Ingles has only played 3 minutes.
3 minutes, very surprising. And I mean, you have to think that he's injured of some sort. He doesn't look it, seeing him in the warm-ups now. But yeah, I'm not sure why that would be the case.
Especially because he had a major part in game 1, and he had a major part in trying to slow down Kirk Penny. And to go from game 1 to game 2 and only have 3 minutes, especially, you know, like I was asking when we weren't on air, we were talking about, well, you know, you have to substitute a lot more. Maybe we can hear about New Zealand's plight as Rob Hazel has the big fella on the sideline.
Thanks, Steve. Yeah, Pero, what did Nenad have to say to the boys? I mean, they came back strongly there in that second quarter.
Yeah, well, you know, we felt like we didn't play well in the first quarter, and you know, we were able to claw it back. But this is the same boat we were in the last game, and you know, they blew us out in the third quarter. So, you know, we want to take advantage of this situation and push on.
A lot of people thought for New Zealand to have any chance tonight that Kirk Penny needed a lot more support. It seems like he's getting that tonight. Are you guys happy with the way that's panning out?
Yeah, I think a couple of guys have stepped up, and we'll see. There's still another half to play.
Well, you hit the nail on the head. It was only 2 points of difference to Australia in game 1, and they ended up winning by double figures. Are you guys pretty confident that you can turn it around and go to a series decider in Sydney?
Yeah, I think we are. You know, we were in the same position before, and we, you know, the first 5 minutes of the third quarter, the other game, it just didn't show up. You know, hopefully we can, you know, push the issue here and get a good third quarter going.
All right, thanks very much.
Cheers.
Best of luck, Pero. Back to you, Steve.
Pero seems a little flat for his team to be down by 2 in a position to force this to a third game. The assistant coach sounds a little flat.
Well, as an Australian fan, let's hope he's their motivational coach because if they come out flat, but I think Pero's trying to play it down a little bit as well. He's a smart player, a lot of international experience, and they know the job's ahead of them, but they'll be happy with what they've done to date.
And Australia, 36 points in the half. We're able to score 26 in the first quarter in game 1. And just look, wouldn't say unorganized, they just look like they've lost their way in scoring. They had a real game plan of going inside, of guys were making aggressive curl cuts. Brad Newley's putting it on the floor, and it just hasn't seemed to look the same late in the second quarter.
Yeah, I still feel like that they haven't got their rhythm because they haven't played the minutes. I think there's so many rotations at the moment. Guys just need to be able to get into some sort of system. And it's different. When you're only playing 3 games, you can play 35 to 40 minutes. I'm not saying that everyone should be doing that, but you also, it's not an NBA season where you're playing 4 games a week and you have to rest players. So hopefully this starting 5 can get their feet set and get that rhythm going, and I'm sure that Australia will be able to go away with it.
New Zealand will inbound the ball here in the third quarter. And Patrick Mills, looks like they had a chat about their defensive intensity, tries to get his team going from the front. Ball's kicked out of bounds by Kirk Penny. Brad Newley gets the nod.
Yeah, good start for Australia, being able to cause a turnover from New Zealand.
Nielsen with that single coverage got Mika Vukona on his back. Can't back him in with that strength. Newley to Ogilvie. Kind of shot it without even looking at the hoop. Good dribble penetration. Gets a point-blank shot by A.J. Ogilvy. The lead is 4.
Great play by Newley to be able to get his head in that gap.
Vacona. Patrick Mills getting up under Alex Pledger. Have a little difficulty with our clock. There's 9 minutes and 11 seconds here in the third. We'll get that up and running as soon as possible. Penny will inbound the ball.
They're all over me already. Hero Cameron's wife's onto me now. She's said that I've dogged him and I'm in trouble.
Penny going left. Just get that to go a little bit hard. Ogilvy needs to get it to a guard. Does. No one picks Patty Mills up. Now Kirk Penny does.
This is a mismatch.
Ogilvy against Pledger. Ball's knocked loose by Lindsey Tate. Gets it to Abercrombie. He takes a couple of steps and gets it to go.
Is that trouble?
I thought it was.
Again, just a little unorganized Australia on the offensive end.
Ingles. Nice little fake, kisses it off the window. Man, he's long.
He is long. He's even long compared to Abercrombie.
Lindsey Tate, little hesitation move. Reverse layup makes it a 2-point game. Good show by Mika Vacona. Joe Ingles catch and shoot from the baseline. Nielsen gets another opportunity for Australia. A.J. Ogilvy was thinking rebound, and Matty Nielsen saw that he had a point-blank shot.
Matty Nielsen again slapped that to the three-point line. You get to know what Matty does, and as a player, as a teammate, you wait on that three-point line because you know you're going to get an open three.
And I've never seen anyone better that when the ball hits the rim, him knock it off the rim.
Yeah.
Penny. Newley again with a good job on Kirk Penny. Vacona on the quick rip through, can't get it to go. Pledger with the offensive rebound. He'll go to the line.
That was good D by Brad Newley again. Really taking away a scoring opportunity from Kirk Penny. As you see Matty Nielsen trying to block out, just got pushed out of the way from Pledger. Pledger's improved. You know, he's still not that old. He's going to continue to get valuable minutes in the NBL and be good.
Pledger just 26 years old.
Big guys normally develop a little bit later too.
I'm sorry, not 24 years old.
Joe Ingles was naked.
Ogilvy. Mills with the runner. Newley tries to keep it alive. And Newley did a great job on Abercrombie in game 1. And one of the reasons why he wasn't able to get going. Mills and Mika Vacona goes to Mika Vacona. Penny with Worthington on him. Worthington does a good job. So collectively, everyone that has him knows the importance of Kirk Penny.
Oh, that's number 4 for Vacona. Oh, that's a big call. That's just as the shot clock expired. That's his 4th. Netted knows there's problems there because they're going to have to bring someone in off the bench. Casey Frank.
And that's number 4, as you saw it. Couldn't see a whole lot, blocked out by a lot of bodies.
And he has to know when to turn off that energy. When you're a key player on the team, you've got 3 fouls and there's 6 minutes 40 to go in the third quarter. You can't get that foul.
Worthington inside that 3-point line, which is very long. stepped out on the court before the game, that thing seems longer than ever.
That's because we're old.
You had it right the first time. I'm old. You still have that range. That used to just be all wrist from the three-point line. There's a lot of arm.
And legs needed.
Still a 2-point game. New Zealand done a great job of keeping this thing close. Casey Frank gets it to Penny. Newley. Nice pass by Kirk Penny. We're all tied up at 40. New Zealand have quietly gone about their business. We're all tied up. Abercrombie going over the top. This is the delivery by Kirk Penny to Pledger.
And again, that next rotation is from Paddy Mills, who you can't quite see in the corner. Has to be able to come off his man to be able to V back straight into that right position.
And that's why Kirk Penny is so dangerous. Just a little bit slow on a rotation. He's able to get a dunk for a teammate. Ingles tries to turn the corner. It's knocked loose, and he's fouled trying to get the ball back. Concerning times for Australia. Don't want it to come down to one game to decide your fate of going to the Olympics.
There is no doubt about that.
Especially with a player like Kirk Penny, who has been quiet tonight. You can't think that he'd have 2 quiet games in a row. Blocking foul, and Penny will go to the line for 2.
And he's still got 11 points. I mean, we say how quiet he is, but 11 points in an international game, still halfway through the third. Way to get across by Worthington. It's only 2 from 7 from the field, 29%. He's shot 7 out of 7 from the free throw line. There goes the prediction with his yips.
You know
About to be 9 from 9.
You know, tell me if you think I'm just making this up as I go, but maybe he could sense that he wasn't going to be getting a whole lot of shots, and that makes, you know what, that make you concentrate a lot more at the line when you're not getting many shots off.
No doubt about it. And the good players, they find a way to get to the line. When you talk about Andrew Gaze, he wasn't the purest of shooters. He found ways to accumulate points. He could get to the line and he would just accumulate just the same way Kirk Penny has. He hasn't been pretty tonight, but he's still got 13 points and the most in the game.
New Zealand up by 2. Crowd getting a little restless. Newley. Shot clock down to 7. Newley goes hard at Pledger. That'll count.
And that's a good play by Newley, getting his feet right, drawing the foul, and still having the composure to be able to go and draw the 3-point play after he split it.
Yeah, a little semi-continuation as Newley finishes the play off and tries to give the Australians the lead. And he does.
Brett Brown's going to be searching now for a combination that he can keep together for a period of time to try and get some momentum.
Penny, 3 Australian boomers around him. Pledger, good rotation back to Pledger, but he's able to hit the shot anyway. New Zealand take the lead as it starts to seesaw on an odd number. Nice pass from Baines on a great cut from Joe Ingles. Australia getting some point-blank shots.
And that's good basketball. You called it. Great pass and a very good cut for Joe Ingles. That's how he has to get himself into the game.
Lindsay Tate. Dribble penetration, looking for a teammate. It's a little fall away off one leg. Again, New Zealand with the lead. Dellavedova on a curl cut and a floater. Baines in the back of Alex Pledger. Pushing in the back. Will go 94 feet the other way, and Pledger will go the line. Gave him a little bit too much. Well, Baines likes to bang. No doubt about that.
That he does.
He's replaced by another banger.
You would hope so. Look at the size of Baines. He's a man. Imagine him in the UFC. Ooh.
Or trying to tackle him.
Oh. Yeah, he's got to come off second best there.
Pledger played a little bit of ball at the University of Missouri, Kansas City, UMKC. Before bringing his craft back to New Zealand. Ingles has it thrown out by Alex Pledger.
Good defensive play from Pledger too, because he didn't go after it and extend himself. He just used his length to be able to block the shot.
Dellavedova waits for the screen. Got the contact back. Good hustle. Newley. Extra pass goes to Worthington. They'll slow it down. New Zealand up by 2. Newley on a curl cut. Takes the contact. No call. Marriage. That won't count. Offensive Alex Marriage. Moving some tall blacks out of the way. We'll get another look.
It was there, but it was soft.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of soft calls tonight. You would think
a lot that have been let go.
Yeah, a lot that have blatant fouls. A lot of soft ones. A little inconsistent tonight. That'll be a foot violation. Reset the clock. Boy, Dellavedova, he mirrors every pass with the hands. He's trying to get his hands on it. He must be very high in the ball deflection department.
I haven't seen too many players play as hard every single possession of anyone that I've played with before as Mehdi Dellavedova.
And smart too. You know, he like Andrew was saying, doesn't have the greatest of foot speed, but he's tenacious and knows the angles and anticipates when the screens are coming. And he's done a great job on the defensive end, no matter who he's guarding. He's doing more of, he's guarding more of the ball carrier tonight with Lindsey Tate or Mark Dickel or Mike Fitchett. He doesn't seem to have Kirk Penny as much.
Joe Ingles is out again. I'd love to see Paddy Mills in the game right now to finish this last 3 minutes of the quarter.
See who this one's on. Fitchett reaching in, trying to offer some help. Had the hand up straight away, making sure none of his more heralded teammates picked up a cheap one.
See, New Zealand have got to the line 22 times to Australia's 9. I don't think we've played as smart by putting them on the line as many times. There's been a lot of cheapies. We've got people there.
Newley has it thwarted by Pledger again. Barlow on the second effort gets it to go. And Pledger has been very tough at throwing and changing shots for Australia. New Zealand still with a lead, but it's only 1. Good second effort by Barlow. Crowd can sense something. He traveled.
So I'll be interested to see how New Zealand would handle a full court press. when you're playing against less talented teams, you don't want to get bogged down. You want it to be more freelance. You want it to be more up-tempo, and normally talent prevails by having that. At the moment, it's just bogged down, and we're playing the way New Zealand want us to play. It's a dogfight.
Must be a fine line between not opening it up as Mark Worthington shoots the three. That was a big one. Marriage with the offensive rebound finds Dellavedova.
You see his elbows out again. Yeah, I think it's always a fine line, Steve. And I don't think that you would go in a game with that mindset, but I think if you're stuck in this, what we're in now, it is a dogfight. It can go either way. I think you need to throw some things out there to maybe change a game for a few minutes and see how they handle it. I'm not sure how New Zealand will handle the press.
Kind of similar to like if a team looks a little flat, you don't want to start in a zone. You want to be able to get them running around before. Something similar to that?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think sometimes too, like we look really stagnant offensively. Things aren't going right offensively for us. We're only shooting 37% from the field. So sometimes by pressing a little bit, you can actually get your offensive game going by getting a few steals and changing that for the momentum of the game as well.
Worthington with an opportunity to take the lead, and he gets it. Mark Worthington, one of only 3 players on the Australian team that play in the NBL. Adam Gibson, Damian Martin, who hasn't seen any court time in either of the games, and also Mark Worthington, of course. Kirk Penny on a rip through, and again gets himself to the foul line. As soon as he heard the whistle, just made a beeline there. He's 9 of 10 from the foul line. He's gotten all of his point production from the line tonight.
And that's where you've got to adjust. I mean, you can't keep putting him to the line. You certainly don't want him to get open looks, but there's a difference between up and in where you can actually get called for a foul versus playing at a good distance, carrying a hand and making him do something else.
And he really hasn't gotten it going from the field. He hits a couple of those quick trigger rip throughs, then maybe you start to play him a little different, but for now, you sure don't want to put him on the line.
He's got 16 points. See, Mark Worthington's smart. He's a veteran. He's doing exactly the same thing as Kirk Penny's doing at the other end. He's cutting, he knows there's pressure on, so he's drawing that contact to be able to get there the second time in a minute that he's going to the line.
Mark Worthington hit the last 2. Another crafty veteran, taking his skills to the blaze.
He's been good for the Boomers tonight. He showed something different. And we said he brings a spark at stages. He can score, but he plays tough. Here's a bit more full court pressure.
Dickel against Mills. Australia now with a 1-point lead. Penny, a little bit of space. Mark Worthington is there to help. Pledger with rhythm, shoots a brick. Fitchett keeps it alive, but Barlow is able to pull it in. Dellavedova, Marriage, Pledger. Banging down low. Worthington, just too strong, but he traveled. Backing in on that mismatch with Kirk Penny.
And he did. That was a good call. That was a good mismatch. He had to be aggressive on that. You see, he just lifted his pivot foot. I think that's where the other perimeter players have to recognise too. They had a couple of cutters while he had the mismatch. He almost got to space it out, give him a little bit more area to be able to work, and then get ready if they double team to be able to penalise it.
I'm always amazed at the teams that are able to do that, have spacing, but not stand around. Like we've been talking about a few things that have a fine line, and that's one of them too.
And you can't do that for the whole game. I think on a mismatch, it's more likely that you're going to give them the space. But you're right.
Rob Lowe into the game for New Zealand. That kid can shoot it, as we saw in game 1. Fitchett. Bingo. Mike Fitchett with a big 3 for New Zealand. It's a 2-point game.
That is a big shot. I'm stunned. I am stunned.
Well, you look at some of the credentials for Australia as you look at the roster. It's got guys playing for powerhouse teams in Europe. And Fitchett, I'm looking at his bio, and the first thing it says is he was the MVP leading his Nelson College team to the championship in 2000, or his secondary school. And for him to, under the circumstances of that game, not as highly credentialed, but that's a big shot.
Big shot and a well-executed play.
There's a charge and a tech. Oh my goodness.
Has he called that on Paddy? Yep, flopping. That was what we were talking about before. He's called that on Paddy Mills for flopping.
Those two don't really care for each other much. And he thought he had.
He did.
He thought he had it, but it's gone the other way.
That is a good rule. I mean, it went against us, Australia, but I think it's right.
I love that rule. I don't just like it, I love it. Because you only have to call that a couple of times and guys stop flopping.
He's not going to do it again.
You know, Kurt Penny, he has been to the line a lot. It hasn't been a Kurt Penny type game. But you just, that one kind of eased in too. You just get the feeling he's just going to explode in a crucial time. Run off like 3.
But you get that feeling with every great player, every great scorer.
Exactly.
I think you're always wary of when it's going to happen.
Dickel has Brad Newley on him now. Quick has been replaced by Quick and Long. He gets the high ball screen. They're looking for Penny. Lowe, he's the shooter as well. New Zealand, their fans thought that that was down because that kid can shoot it. At the under-19s FIBA World Championships, men's in Auckland. In that tournament, he shot it at 60% and 57% outside the three-point line for the entire tournament. There he is again. And rushed that one a little bit. He can't get it to go, but, well, we had a close one at halftime, and we got a close one now after 3 quarters of play. New Zealand Tall Blacks on top, 54-53. And we are in the 4th quarter. It was what has been a tight game, different look than game 1. It's been a slower pace, not as physical, a lot of fouls called earlier. They've been able to maintain control of this game. Marriage, his jump hook, they established the inside presence, but it does not pay off.
Well executed play.
Anthony to Dickel. Pledger to Kurt Penny. That rims out. Pledger with the offensive rebound and putback. Kurt Penny did not hesitate. He got a little space to get that 3 off, and it rimmed out, just barely, softly rimmed out. Fouls on number 12, B.J. Anthony. Australia will inbound the basketball on the baseline. Dellavedova gets it out to Ingles up top. Newley on a curl cut, gets it to Nielsen. Good basketball.
Great basketball. Good pass from Ingles. Good curl from Newley. Great finish from Nielsen.
Can New Zealand match after Australia execute? Fitchett comes up short on that one. A lot of poise though, took his time. Ingles got a good look at the three-point line, that's long.
Good vision from Dellavedova.
Penny off the window, that doesn't go. Got a good look that time. Dellavedova finds Ingles again. He lines up another three. That's good. I like that. Didn't hesitate.
Another great pass from Dellavedova. And as you called it, he didn't hesitate. And that's the basket Ingles needed to get himself into the game.
He sure did. Big shot by Joe Ingles gives the Australian Boomers a 2-point lead here in the fourth. 58-56.
It's Friday, let's get all the players here tonight. I know which of the frees now there. Tara Penboss, head to the Bullets, stand in the foyer. Tara Penboss, congratulations. You've got yourself a fantastic sign of Lucas Singlet. Head to the Bullets, stand in the foyer. Tara Penboss.
Brett Brown and the Australian Boomers have a game on their hands, but a three-point shot by Joe Ingles has helped their cause, giving them a 2-point lead. Plenty of time to go in this game. Australia trying to close out this series and get themselves a spot at the Olympic Games in London 2012. After winning game one, and Dellavedova finds Joe Ingles. Splash down after he had an open look just a minute ago. He's able to get that one to go.
And that's a sign of maturity too from Joe Ingles. I mean, many years ago he gets his head down and he couldn't find a way to be able to get out of that. Big bucket right there.
Dickel. Mika Vukona is back in, playing with 4 fouls. Kirk Penny bobbles it and travels. Still the most dangerous man out on the floor, and Australia keeps playing that way. Even though he's not having a great night, Australia has not let up. Dellavedova into Matty Nielsen, single coverage. Mika Vukona on his back. They'll get it right back into him. Nielsen skips it to Dellavedova. As he tries to get to the rim, Dickel grabs his head.
Good take by Dellavedova. You want to see Matt Nielsen get really aggressive. Vukona's got 4 fouls in there, so he's either got to back off with the pressure so Nielsen can actually get an easier basket, or you want to foul him out of the game.
And that might be what Brett Brown is talking to Matty Nielsen about right now. Called him right over. Well, we were putting down our list of who we should have thought started the fourth quarter, and you had Matt Dellavedova, and he has been key here in the early stages of the fourth.
He has. He's certainly not scared of anything defensively or to take the big shots. It's a pretty good balanced little lineup they've got here, particularly when, you know, Joey finds his confidence and gets his mojo back.
Will come up big. It's a 4-point game. Big possession for New Zealand. They've done such a great job at staying ahead and keeping it close. You just get a sense that Australia is ready to blow this thing wide open. Vukona, big bucket, 3-point basket by Mika Vukona. Just like that, it's a one-point game from an unlikely source outside the three-point line.
That is just a massive shot from a guy that isn't a great three-point shooter.
Fouls on number 10, Thomas Abercrombie. That's his 5th personal foul. That's the shot knocked down by Mika. That's huge.
It was flat. It was flat, and it was still nothing but cord. This is a great battle. 3 team fouls now for New Zealand in this last quarter. Australia have to keep being aggressive, go inside, attack the basket, try and get to the line.
Mike Fitchett steps into the game. Dellavedova gets to Nielsen. Looked like he was expecting a hit, but he still put it up there nice and soft. And Australia is starting to look like the momentum is starting to swing their way. Penny. Bacona. To Fitchett. To Dickel. Another long 3. Australia just look like they're doing it easy on the offensive end of the floor. Nice pass to Merritt. Super finish. Great hands. New Zealand have seen enough. They call it timeout. That is a great catch and finish by Alex Merritt, the big man, known for his strength. Watch that, just gobbled it up and put it up there nice and soft, giving Australia a 5-point lead.
That was a great pass from Joe Ingles. Again, really touch pass and way to run the lanes from the big truck down the middle. Marriage and good touch putting it in.
It was a great pass. I just didn't think he would be able to catch and shoot that on the run with his big body, but he did it so soft.
Yeah, surprised me, but that was a good timeout from New Zealand as well. I think then it felt that they were losing momentum, as did we, that Australia was starting to get the upper hand, and Australia can blow a team out in a couple of minutes. Good timeout, take the crowd out of it, particularly with a transition basket like that, and then they start again.
What was it for you? I mean, I just felt like Australia just seemed focused and got what they wanted on the offensive end of the floor, and New Zealand had a shot, a flat 3 hit by Mika Bacona. But this is the fast break.
Again, a good tip, early exit pass out to the wing, and good pass, and that's transition defense, offense at its best.
And Pero Cameron having a word with Mike Fitchett. He was not happy that he wasn't able to get in front of Alex Merritt. Good defense by Merritt. They try to get it to Kirk Penny.
Great job by Dellavedova defending that back cut.
Dellavedova again to Joe Ingles. Maddie Nielsen, another offensive rebound, and kicks it out, and they'll run some clock. Oh, I don't know about that one.
Again, that's the European style, going back to that onside. Joey should know better. He has to take it the other way. The best option, though, was Maddie Nielsen was in the block with Bacona on his back. It's not a travel.
Can you explain that to me?
It's not a travel, but in Europe they say once you catch it, you can't come back the same way. They call it every single time. And you argue with them till you're blue in the face, and then you learn. You just turn it over the other way.
Well, Scotty Butler just got it back for Australia. I'm kidding, because either you're standing out of bounds or you're not. It wasn't a judgment call. And take that traveling call with you. Dooley just gets to the rim. Wow.
That's an athlete. A long athlete with a different turn of pace than what we get to see on a weekly basis here.
That was all class. Joe Ingles with a cheap one.
And that's okay. I mean, he did a good job effort-wise being able to get through that screen. It's the first foul for the quarter. Australia's played a lot smarter quarter, this one, than they have for the previous 3. Oh, Joey coming out again.
Dellavedova takes a seat as well. He's played extremely good basketball tonight, Matthew Dellavedova. Key in some big baskets for Australia. Kirk Penny with Newley all over him. He's had no space. Great show by Marich. Vukona as the shot clock expires. Mills. Good quick move by Alex Marich. Soft hands on the break and a quick spin move to the baseline.
And that's tough to defend when you can drive it up the sideline, quick entry pass into the post, and get that sort of reaction.
Fitchett throws it up in the air to Pledger, but Matt Nielsen read that like a book. Nielsen throws it up to Marich, misses the sitter with his left hand, but they'll go to the line.
That's 5 from Vukona.
Another great pass by Matty Nielsen.
Fantastic high-low, and again, running that transition, getting someone in the block there. You see him fronted in the back of that screen, and a good pass on that roll to Marich.
Super pass by the big men as they work the high-low. Australia with a commanding 68-59 lead. Brett Brown with a little bit of breathing space. Boy, New Zealand was making a lot of people here nervous. But some big shots and great plays by Alex Marich. Run the floor and showing you his back to the basket skills have helped Australia get a little bit of a cushion against their trans-Tasman rivals, the Tall Blacks.
And New Zealand are going to have to come out with something different. I mean, Vukona's out of the game. They have to turn this 9-point deficit into a lead in the next 4 minutes 43. Otherwise, their Olympic qualifications through the Oceania are done.
Done. And that tournament that they have to play in. 213 nations going for 3 spots. That's, wow.
Tough.
They might as well try and win the lottery. Got better odds.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'd go that far. I mean, they are going to be a chance because of the way they play. I mean, they're severely undermanned here or under-talented compared to an Australian team, and they've found a way to be able to compete. So they take that with them, but they will be underskilled as we see it dumped again by Alex Marich.
Marich coming to the party. Play in transition, spin, move, dunk. And coming threes is Dickel. Trying to get a miracle going for New Zealand. Newley turns on the Jets and goes upstairs with a 2-hand yoke.
Oh, here comes my 18 points, Steve Carfino.
Wow. They're trying to foul him. He just ran through the arms and just went upstairs. Newley.
Again, it was a great rotation from Matt Nielsen. Got a hand on the ball to start that transition, and that is the way you finish a fast break. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to do that?
Oh, boy, wouldn't the game get a lot easier? Tate. Penny. He's off the mark, just getting him to shoot even tougher shots than he can make.
Great defense again from Brad Newley, putting enough pressure on without fouling him.
Nielsen tries to rip it through, loses control of it. Mills throws it upstairs to A.J. Ogilvy. Good read by Casey Frank. Nielsen from behind. comes up with a loose ball. Good pass by Nielsen. A.J. Ogilvy on a round the back pass from Patty Mills.
Patty joined the party late, but it was pretty when he did.
Barlow with a hands foul as they continue to be in lockdown mode against Kirk Penny. It has been a collective team effort. Who is ever near him has done a great job, whether it's showing by a big man or just sliding with him. Lindsey Tate, no good. Matty Nielsen pulls it in.
22 points to 5 in the last quarter. It's all come from the defensive end, Steve, for the Boomers, no doubt about that.
Mills. Shot clock down to 5. This is a jumper. Off the mark. Barlow pulls it in. Estrella will run some more clock. Ogilvy to a curl-cutting Newley. Nielsen. Great pass to Mills for 3. Barlow with the score, and it'll count. Controlled tip. He'll go to the line for a 3-point play.
Great pass from Matt Nielsen, finding the open Patty Mills on the weak side. Dave Barlow just coming through to clean up the slops.
And that was another point that you made earlier, Shane. How he moved to the open area, got a better angle, knows Matty Nielsen can find him. As Barlow gets the tip.
Nielsen plays like a point guard from the post. I mean, he led Australia in assists in game 1. He had 6. He's a fantastic passer for the guards.
Pitch it. Finds Dickel. That's off the mark. Worthington.
That was ugly. We were right behind that.
Well, not the most attractive shot from any angle. But any shot looks good when it goes in. Damian Martin will check into the game. Patty Mills for 3. He's fouled by Fitchett. So Gibson and Damian Martin will check in. One of them has the shooter.
You think Patty looked over and said, I'm coming out. I'm going to get one last one up here.
That's like something I would have. I never would admit it to my coach at the time.
You've got to be a scorer to be able to see it.
And you know, that goes in 2 scenarios. Like if I haven't had much going on the night, I would definitely do it. And if I had a big night, I would definitely do it.
Yeah, I think Patty did it.
He hits the second one. Well, at least he didn't miss the second one on purpose so he could keep playing.
Yeah, he wanted the extra.
I've done that too.
Oh, no, you haven't.
No, I haven't. I'm kidding.
20-point margin.
Pitching from deep. Goes hard off the back of the iron. 1.5 minutes to go. We're just looking for a final number. Barlow. Damian Martin. Out of bounds. He's thinking about being productive in this game, whether it be with a score or an assist.
I'll tell you one thing for Damian Martin. He hasn't played a lot of court time with the Australian Boomers in this offseason, but he looks physically good. When you're not playing a lot with the Australian team, but you're around, you're training, he will have a very big start to the NBL season. Perth are going to be tough this year.
Just jump out of the blocks.
He's going to be ready.
Not that I've ever seen him out of shape.
No, it's true. But just the way he was dunking in the warm-ups, I mean, he was ready to go. Point guards for Australia aren't meant to dunk in the warm-ups.
No. No,
Didn't
they're
used
not.
to, I know that.
Well, Damian Martin with his Perth Wildcats, such a great team player. And you talk about Dellavedova competing on every possession.
Yep.
And Damian Martin, if you can't compare those two, they are definitely in the same ballpark.
No doubt. Same mold. I'm looking forward to this year's NBL season too. It's going to be tight. A lot of teams can win it this year.
Under a minute to go. Anthony spinning, working that footwork. It's a soft one to go off the backboard. He'll go to the line to try and complete a three-point play.
Fella sitting in front of us, like, yeah. He got excited, not because they're 20 down now, but that was only their 7th point for the quarter. It's been a while since he was able to clap.
Baines with the rebound, gets it to Damian Martin. First field goal in 7 minutes, Shane.
7 minutes. That is what you would call a dry patch.
At a very bad time.
28-5 at money time. But I think credit Australia more than bad play from New Zealand. I think Australia stepped it up. Fantastic defense. The intensity was there. And then they got those stops and were able to turn that into easy fast break points. This was a very, very good win from an ugly first 3 quarters of basketball for Australia.
Australia did what they had to do, executed, pulled out the stops, got high percentage shots in the 4th quarter. That is the basketball that Brett Brown and the Australian Boomers hoped to play for 4 quarters. When it mattered, Australia got it done, Shane.
They certainly did. And good crowd here in Brisbane too. Good to have high-level basketball back here in Brisbane. Let's hope the Brisbane Bullets are back in the next couple of years, Steve.
Love to see that. Remember when you played here, this place was rocking.
Some great memories here in Boondall, let me tell you that.
12,000 people. The Brisbane Entertainment Center back in those days. And with basketball being played at such a high rate all around the country. And players like Patty Mills coming back, rumored that Andrew Bogut might be suiting up in the NBL. Boy, those are good rumors.
What a positives to be had there, Steve.
Yeah.
Roll this NBL season out in 1 HD.